Hi, I'm Laura Smith, and I'm going to talk to you about my theories on development, how what I've learned about development this semester in human development over the lifespan, and how I feel about some of the different theorists we've studied. And this is Cade, and Cade is 14 months old, and I've been lucky enough to take care of him since he was just a small baby. I'm his nanny, and I was going to wait until he was down for his nap to do this presentation, but I thought it would be good to have him in it as well because he's helped me learn a lot about early childhood development, especially. And watching his development from when he was a little baby has been really fascinating for me. So this is Cade, and he's going to help me out a little bit, and he'll be in and out depending on how antsy he gets. So what I did is I went through and I found a couple things from different theorists that really spoke to me and that I wanted to have included in my ideas on theories. And the first thing was Skinner. And Skinner said that he wasn't creating theories, he was creating knowledge. He didn't believe in theories. And I think that that makes a lot of sense, especially because the world changes so much. And when we look at theories that a lot of theorists developed a long time ago, they don't really seem to fit anymore, especially with the growing adolescence, childhood changing. We know about Second Life now and all those things that by creating knowledge about development, that just makes a lot more sense to me than creating specific theories that might not hold through over time. I also really believed in what Vygotsky said, and Vygotsky talked about children learning through social interaction. And that's one thing that I've definitely been able to learn from Cade. He learns from social interaction every day through his interaction with me. And I spend about 50 or 60 hours a week with Cade. And he, yeah, and he learns from watching me. Even just the last week, he's been learning how to hold his own banana and eat a whole banana instead of having it cut up. And he learned that through modeling me, or he wants to put his own socks on. He learns that from modeling the grown-ups and adults around him, doing everything that he started to do, from walking to eating and getting dressed and all those little things that he's starting to want to do as he continues to grow. Um, on that note, Brothenberner said that he thought children learned the most from the small communities around them, their parents and their families. And watching Cade, I definitely believe that's true because I know that he's learned most of what he's learned from me and his mom and other people around him, where instead of just strangers or TV or those things, he spends most of his time with me, and that's where he does most of his learning. Although I do think as children get older, obviously that diminishes, and they're probably learning more from their friends and at school and just taking in more in those places. Um, the other thing that I really liked was Keegan's idea that adults might not reach full consciousness, and that someone might not ever. And I just think that it's important for everyone to realize that they're always developing, even no matter how old you are, you're still always learning and discovering what's best for you. So that's a really important part of development for me to realize that Yogi, leave Kate alone. Sorry. Kate, come here. And so that's a really important part of development, that you're always developing, you're always getting better. Let me grab him and bring him over. Here we go. So I developed, looking at the different stages, 10 stages of development. And the first is infant 0 to 1, and the second is preschool 1 to 4. And I think that during these times they're doing a lot of things to help children develop. Kate and I play with instruments, we work on sounds, we read books, like Mrs. Spider's Tea Party. Let's just look at a couple pages. One lonely spider wished to play. Two beetles gasped and ran away. So after children get out of that infant stage and are moving into the preschool years of like 1 to 4, they're really learning a lot. They're interacting with others, they're learning body parts and animal sounds and all sorts of really fun things. So, Kate, can you show everybody where your belly is? Where's Kate's belly? Where's Kate's belly? Where's Kate's belly? He doesn't want to do it right now, but he knows where his belly is, and we just learned that a couple weeks ago. So he's starting to learn where his nose is, his ears. He's putting together things with blocks, big mega blocks, and building his fine motor skills. And as kids progress into the preschool years, they start coloring more, using writing utensils, really developing those fine motor skills in their hands. After preschool comes childhood, which I have as 5 to 9, and I think during this time kids are really using their imagination, creating things, and growing a lot. Going to school, school-age children, and just having a really fun time and hopefully having lots of growth and experiences. Late childhood is 9 to 12, and I think that this is a more difficult time because kids are starting to have adult feelings, they're starting to want to be more adult, they're kind of reaching those adolescent stages, and we know, of course, from this class and from adolescent development that adolescence is stretching, and that those feelings of being adult are even reaching into those younger kids now. So that's really interesting. But I still have adolescence listed as 13 to 18, even though traditionally that seems more traditional, and now adolescence is probably stretching much earlier. But we know during adolescence that the brain is changing a lot and that kids are going through a lot of changes. And we also know that since adolescence is stretching out, that I have a late adolescence period, and that is from 18 to 25. And so that's where I am now in late adolescence, and I am finishing up my master's, starting a doctoral program, and these are the kinds of things that late adolescence people are doing. They're still in school. Many of them might be moving, traveling, still not quite settled in their lives yet. And then from 25 to 30, I have early adulthood, and I think this is probably for a lot of people when the majority of that settling down starts to happen. They're starting to maybe buy a house or get married or do those traditional kind of early adulthood things. From 30 to 45, I have adulthood, and I think that traditionally this is when maybe people are starting to have children, start families, get into their careers, and really be doing those adult-like things that I'm not doing quite yet. I have late adulthood from 45 to 60, and during this time probably a lot of people's children are moving out of their homes, they're getting older and into high school, they're becoming more independent, they're just growing older, maybe people are starting to think about retirement and just doing those later phases in adulthood things. And then from 60 plus I have Second Life, and I put Second Life in there because I think that was a really cool thing that we learned about in the video that we watched, that a lot of people are taking the time to develop a new life after their retirement and just growing and becoming a whole new person, developing new skills and talents. And that's one of the most fantastic things that people can do now. We have a long lifespan. There's a lot that people still have to give. And I think that the boomer generation has done a really good job with showing how an active second life can be. So that's my theory of development, and thank you for letting me share CADE with you today. And we have a lot of fun. So great class,